Good evening, Nick. It is Friday. And dang it, stop agreeing with me. Although, to be totally fair, I should probably also stop agreeing with you. It makes making videos really hard, man. Nick, as far as I can tell, there are like 3 ways to do our conversations. The first is to just come up with random stuff and just talk about it, which is kind of awkward and doesn't really have a good structure that isn't a lot of fun. Which I think is how we kind of started, just kind of talking about random stuff and like going with it. The second method, gosh, I cannot aim on the camera. The second method is what we're doing right now, which is kind of agreeing with each other, building off of things, and continuing a growing conversation, which sometimes can become a little bit exhaustive because sometimes there's only so many points you can make on something, or so many ideas that you can come up with to build off of things. And sometimes it feels like it gets a little stagnant. I feel like that's where we get sometimes. Like, I wanted to talk more about like framework and how people think about things, but it's like it feels so overdone at this point. And I almost made a video about not knowing what to talk about, but I think I've made too many of those before. Which Nick leads me to my third point, and that's actually disagreeing and actually arguing over things. Because then it gets into counterpoint, you get counterplans, alternatives. There's a lot more ways to build off a conversation, because all you have to do is find one point of contention, one point of disagreement, and then it gives you an infinite number of directions. Instead of having to necessarily build off of something, you can go against it, and you can go against it in part, in its entirety, as I've already stated, and so I feel like we need to do that a little bit more. But Nick, it's just so easy to agree with you because you're really smart, you bring up good, well-reasoned points, and I like to think for the most part I'm smart and also bring up well-reasoned points. And that makes things kind of problematic. Like, sometimes it's not fun agreeing with somebody all the time. Sometimes you just gotta argue with someone. Not in an angry way like those really awkward couples do whenever they're out in the park and they start yelling at each other. And there are children around, and there are people trying to enjoy their day, and it's just really obnoxious because they feel like they have to yell right out in public. More in the kind of like trying to fully think things through and just kind of getting counterpoint, kind of build and work together. And if the internet can be believed, like that's what the Wright brothers used to do. Even when they would agree on stuff, somebody would always take up the opposite side, so that they had to argue with each other, so that they had to think more, and they had to get better and build better points. So Nick, I think that's what I'm going to start doing whenever you make a point. Not to be rude, not to be mean, but for the sake of argument and trying to think more. And I want to get back into that kind of debate mode of thinking, and even thinking in the way that my opponents or people who believe differently than I do. So if you make a point about X, I'm going to try to counter X, so that we can have an argument about it, even if I agree with you, because I feel like that might be a little bit more fun than just kind of agreeing and building off. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Anyways, Nick, I'm still looking forward to your post video whenever you finally get to it, and I'll see you on Monday.